What is going on, guys? Bray USA here. I'm going to rant for a second because it doesn't matter what your race, religion, or sexual orientation is. We are all being played here. We've all been sleight of handed, set up, cut down in the middle, and divided. Listen, we the people have a problem because we are too worried about winning a game that we're not even playing. We're nothing but an audience bickering amongst ourselves and arguing over the vomit that's being mass-produced in Washington, D.C. And the powers that be absolutely love it. They love that we've finally begun slinging the mud at each other and arguing over everything imaginable, just like them. They love that we, the people, are further separating ourselves down into lesser and lesser groups, categorizing ourselves as pro-this or anti-that. They love that we're more concerned about each other in our little groups because that gives them more of an opportunity to break we, the people, apart and seize, grab, and whatever else, more freedom for themselves and more power for themselves. Personally, I don't really get the division, and I've got to admit, as a father, I'm a little worried. You see, America was born because we, the people, of all nations, of all races, and of all religions, we were united. We stood united against all tyranny, against all taxation, against all the kings and all the queens of all the nations and all the world, against all those who wish to divide us and take away our freedom. We stood together. We didn't have to like each other, like what each other thought, or like what each other believed, or like what each other liked, because at the bottom of it all, we lived under the same veil of freedom. And as long as that freedom was there, our personal beliefs were irrelevant. And now that freedom has been given to us and rests upon our shoulders, our generation, and it's now crumbling right before our eyes. It is under attack, and we the people can't even look at each other. We can't even have a conversation about the gravity and the responsibility of that freedom because we're too busy arguing over the crumbs of what's left of that freedom, prejudging each other so quickly that we don't even take the time to talk to each other or look at each other in the streets or even try to be civil to one another. We have been purposefully divided, and you're too blind to see. So you're either part of that problem or you're proud of that problem, the way I see it. The last time I checked, the United States of America was the greatest nation on the planet Earth, and we, the people, stood proudly together, one nation under God, because of two things. The first is freedom. It's the very thing that every human being is born to yearn, God-given freedom. We'll get back to that. But the second thing that makes this country great is all the people. It's the diversity of its citizens. It's the citizens who are willing to come together for that freedom and put aside their personal likes and dislikes and beliefs. Citizens made up of all races and religions and creeds and all nations who are willing to forget their own personal beliefs and their own identities and how they identify, their own countries of origin, just to partake in and defend that freedom that they know only lives and can be found right here in these beautiful United States of America. A freedom that for generation after generation has been carefully handed to, bought and paid for by the blood of our ancestors, and handed down time after time by the brave ones who held on to it and passed it along to us. For nearly 300 years, this nation has stood tall as the last bastion of hope and the last stand for that freedom. Freedom for all mankind across this planet, around our globe, but now it's our turn. Freedom rests in our hands and upon our shoulders, and I've got to admit, I'm a little concerned because in my lifetime, I've never seen we the people more divided. You see, as I look around, I don't see a people grateful or worthy or even deserving of that freedom. I don't see patriotism within the eyes of my fellow countrymen anymore, and I don't see citizens who understand or comprehend the fact that we the people, as a free nation, we the people are right now holding that last guidon, that last infinity stone, if you will, of freedom in our hands. I don't see citizens who understand that we the people, the defenders of freedom, stand surrounded on all sides by those who wish to see us burn. I certainly don't see citizens who understand and comprehend that they are part of the problem. They are part of the godlessness and the tyranny that rots away the moral fiber of our country from within. We the people are concerned, but we're surrounded, and we've allowed ourselves to be divided against one another right here on our own soil. A greater concern is that division is exactly what our representatives in Washington, D.C. want. They need us to be divided against one another in order to keep us from staying together and relinquishing them of their power. You see, our freedom is under siege. Our freedom for the last 100 years has been slowly encroached upon by the elected officials of our United States government and the lobbyists who continue to puppet them. Our freedom, once again, belonging to we the people, has officially fallen under the same attack by the same officials that you voted into office. The same officials that you elected to represent your best interest and the interest of your family. But I have a question because I'm confused. Are the representatives that you voted for, are they acting in the best interest of you and the future of your children? Do you truly believe and truly trust those representatives? Have you researched those people and the history of the ones that you've put into those offices? Have you researched the policies that they are putting into place? Do you know how they are investing your taxpayer dollars into themselves and filling their pockets and the pockets of their children long after they've served their term in office? Has it ever crossed your mind to question what cable news is regurgitating into your living room? If you've answered yes to any of these questions and are still standing behind those representatives, any of them, and cheering them on, you're either a liar or you are one of them. And maybe it's ignorance or apathy, and maybe you're shrugging your shoulders and don't know how to answer those kinds of questions, and maybe you're simply just rooting against either side or for either side because of the D or the R that is hanging out and lingering behind their name. And if that's the case, in these times, that answer and your vote for that answer is no longer okay. You see, I'm still confused as to how or why we the people, the hard-working people, the tax-paying people, the blue-collar people, the war-fighting people, the people of service, the white-collar people, the God-fearing, freedom-loving, flag-waving American people, I don't see how we could ever be divided when it comes to protecting our freedom. People, our job as a citizen is simple. Protect the freedom and pass it on to the next generation. When it comes to the elected officials who represent us, when it comes to voting for the leaders of our nation, you have got to think bigger than just yourself and your beliefs. You have to start thinking about our freedom collectively and what's best for the United States and what's best for us and the generation that is going to follow. Remember, when you vote, you're not just voting for yourself. You're voting for all of us. You're voting for my children and their safety. You're voting for the future of this nation, and you are voting for the preservation of our Constitution and that God-given freedom that has been given to us to pass along. So this is Dave Bray USA signing out. Don't forget to stay the course. Finish the fight and never surrender. And I will see you all, not only out there on the road, but on the other side of freedom. So be well, and God bless. And don't forget to subscribe to this page. Subscribe to DaveBrayUSA.com.